Did you know there is a book so powerful and mysterious that it was removed from the Bible and hidden from Christians for centuries? This book is the Book of Enoch. You might have never heard of it, but the contents of this book could potentially change your understanding of angels, giants, and biblical history in general. Today, we will be diving into just what the Book of Enoch contains and the controversial contents that caused the book to be banned from the Bible. We will also look at other reasons the Book of Enoch could have been banned. Some fascinating things will be discussed in this video, so make sure you stick around till the end. The history of the Book of Enoch. Before we go on to talk about what the Book of Enoch contains and why it was banned, we should have a little backstory first. The Book of Enoch is an ancient Hebrew apocalyptic text claimed to have been written by Enoch, the father of Methuselah and the great-grandfather of Noah. In the 5th chapter of Genesis, there is an incredible description of who Enoch was, and he is mentioned to have extraordinary faith. Enoch was so faithful to God that he did not physically die. Instead, God took him directly to be with him in heaven. The Book of Enoch has a lot of fantastical narratives about angels, demons, and the origins of evil, but we will talk more about this later. It is a book that has intrigued scholars and theologians for centuries because of its detailed descriptions of otherworldly beings. Although the Book of Enoch was claimed to have been written by Enoch himself, scholars and historians all agree that the book is a compilation of writings from different authors. It is assumed to have been written between the 3rd and the 1st century BC. It has various sections, and the oldest can be traced back to around 300 to 200 BC, while the latest part, called the Book of Parables, is likely from around 100 BC. The Book of Enoch was originally written in Aramaic or Hebrew, which is the language that was first used for Jewish texts. Surprisingly, no Hebrew version of the work still exists, and the only surviving complete version is written in Ge'ez, an ancient Ethiopian language. The people who lived in the Qumran caves, where the Book of Enoch and the Dead Sea Scrolls were found, were not members of the Pharisees, a prominent Jewish sect. Instead, they were part of a split sect, the Essenes, who followed unusual rituals. That is why the Book of Enoch and many other manuscripts found in the caves are known to be very different from Rabbinic Judaism. Despite all other Jewish and Christian groups regarding the Book of Enoch as non-canonical or non-inspired, the Ethiopian Jewish community called Beta Israel and the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, which is the largest Christian community in Ethiopia, still use the Book of Enoch as part of their biblical canon. A very interesting fact about the Book of Enoch is that it might have been mentioned in numerous parts of the accepted Bible version. First, Enoch was mentioned in the Epistle to the Hebrews. In Hebrews 11:5, it was noted that Enoch received testimony from God before his translation, and there are speculations that this is a direct reference to the Book of Enoch. There have also been claims that the 1st and 2nd epistles of Peter reference some material from the Book of Enoch. This is specifically in 1 Peter 3:19-20 and 2 Peter 2:4-5. The most interesting reference to the Book of Enoch in the accepted version of the Bible has to be in the Epistle of Jude. In Jude 14-15, the author of this book quotes Enoch, the 7th from Adam. This verse says that Enoch prophesied about God coming with his saints to execute judgment upon all. Even more interesting, you can find this prophecy in the Book of Enoch 1:9. What does this mean? Did the author of Jude read the Book of Enoch and believe it? You wouldn't understand the answer to this question until you've learned about the contents of the Book of Enoch. The controversial contents of the Book of Enoch. You should know first that the Book of Enoch is divided into 5 main parts. Each of these parts is about different things that are controversial in their way, and we will be examining each of them deeply in this video. Let's go ahead with the first part. The Book of the Watchers. Contained in chapters 1 to 36 of the Book of Enoch, the Book of Watchers introduces Enoch as the book's author and talks about the fall of the Watchers, who were angelic beings sent to earth to watch over humans. Apparently, these angels disobeyed God by mating with human women and giving birth to giants who were called the Nephilim. This is the most famous part of the Book of the Watchers, but there is more to the book than that. The introduction to the Book of the Watchers says that the book's contents are from a vision that Enoch received after his translation from earth to heaven. It also states that the author is writing not for this generation, that is, the generation of the past, but for one that is far distant, which is probably supposed to be us. The first 5 chapters of the Book of the Watchers are a commentary on Deuteronomy 33. It describes the day of the Lord, a time of divine judgment where the wicked are condemned while the righteous are vindicated. According to this part of the book, the judgment of humans would be based on nature itself and not just on religious laws. This idea is quite similar to what is found in the New Testament, especially the books written by St. Paul. Chapters 6 to 11 of the book discuss the Watchers' story, including their rebellion and what happened after. We already know that Watchers are angels sent to earth to protect humans, but the Book of Enoch is not the only place these angels were mentioned. They were mentioned in other ancient texts, like the Book of Daniel. The Watchers were supposed to protect humans, but they corrupted them instead. According to the Book of Enoch, the Watchers were led by their leader, Shemihaza, and another prominent angel, Azazel, to corrupt humans by teaching them forbidden knowledge, such as making weapons, sexual immorality, drinking of blood, and practicing sorcery. It was in this process that the Nephilim were born to dominate and oppress humanity. In response to the actions of the Watchers, 4 archangels decide to take action. These angels were Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel, and they brought the cries of the humans for help to God. Then God assigned each archangel a task so they could end the corruption. In the end, Azazel is punished and imprisoned. The Nephilim are turned against each other in battles, and the rebellious Watchers are imprisoned until the final judgment. It's a very interesting story indeed. The following 5 chapters of the Book of the Watchers, chapters 12 to 16, focus on Enoch. So apparently, the Watchers ask Enoch to beg God for mercy on behalf of themselves and their children, the Nephilim. However, God denied their request because they were not repentant, but still rebellious and wanted a reduced punishment. God tells them that their punishment will be forever. Because of this punishment, the giant spirits that leave them when they die continue to roam the earth to afflict humans. According to the Book of Enoch, this is where unclean spirits and demons originated from. If we believe this, then those unclean spirits and demons that Jesus dealt with in the New Testament are all spirits of dead Nephilim that have been roaming about. The final parts of this section of the Book of Enoch, chapters 17 to 36, describe Enoch's journey through the cosmos with the archangels. They supposedly show him different parts of the universe, including the underworld, where the dead await judgment, and the holy mountain where God will judge everyone at the end of time. Enoch also visits paradises, a beautiful but empty place that will be for the righteous in the future. This idea is not that different from what is in the New Testament. The Book of the Watchers gives an account of how sin came to be in the world that is contrary to what is written in Genesis. It ends by setting the stage for the coming of the Messiah, who will fulfill the prophecies and bring ultimate redemption. It also serves as the foundation for the rest of the Book of Enoch and heavily influences the next part, the Book of Parables. The Book of Parables. The second section of the Book of Enoch is the Book of Parables, and it covers chapters 37 to 71 of the whole book. It has 3 parables, each very long, unlike the kinds of parables Jesus mentioned in the Gospels of the New Testament. All of the parables have a similar theme, which is the triumph of righteousness over wickedness. The first parable in chapters 38 to 44 discusses the 4 archangels mentioned in the Book of the Watchers: Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel. It also talks about where the righteous and elect one lives, the approaching judgment of the wicked, and some meteorological and astronomical secrets are shared as well. Chapters 45 to 57 contain the second parable, which mostly deals with the elect one, also known as the Son of Man, sitting in judgment. In this parable, the Son of Man is not portrayed as a human being. Instead, he is shown to be a majestic and heavenly being with complete authority and dominion over both the world of men and angels. The third parable, found in chapters 58 to 71, gives the names and roles of the fallen angels. It also talks about the blessedness of the saints, the measuring of paradise, and the judgment of the kings and powerful ones. The Book of the Heavenly Luminaries. This is the next part of the Book of Enoch, covering chapters 72 to 82. The book talks about the courses, relations, and dominion of celestial bodies and sheds more light on the names, seasons, and months of these luminaries. According to the book, the angel Uriel revealed to Enoch all these astronomical mysteries. The work spreads the same solar calendar that the Dead Sea sect and the Book of Jubilees both mention. It was most likely written before 100 BCE, and it is a very scientific text with little regard for moral issues. According to the author of this part of the book, solar timekeeping is better than lunar timekeeping, and the author uses material from the Old Testament to create a consistent astronomical system. The Dream Vision, covering chapters 83 to 90 of the Book of Enoch. Section 4 is named The Dream Vision. These visions are 2 long dreams about the future of Israel. In the first vision, which can be found in chapters 83 and 84, there is a prediction of the Great Flood as a punishment for the world. The second vision in chapters 85 to 90 starts with the story from the beginning of time up to Enoch's era, and then predicts future events that will lead to the arrival of a messianic kingdom. There are many animal symbols used in the dream. Oxen represents the patriarchs like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Sheep represents the faithful people of Israel. Praying beasts and birds represent the heathens and non-believers. A sheep with a big horn might represent Judas Maccabeus, and a white bull with great horns is meant to represent the Messiah. The second dream vision ends with the creation of a new Jerusalem, the conversion of non-believers, the resurrection of the righteous, and the establishment of the messianic kingdom. The Epistle of Enoch. The final part of the Book of Enoch is the epistle found in chapters 91 to 108. An epistle is traditionally a long letter, but the Epistle of Enoch does not follow a correspondence format. It is a record of Enoch's last words to his son Methuselah and the rest of his family. The main body of the epistle talks about Enoch sharing a vision with his family, because he is about to ascend to heaven. In the vision, the future is described in a series of weeks, from Enoch's time to the final judgment, and each week represents an era that ends with a significant event or person. At the end of the vision is the coming of the Messiah and the end of times. Enoch tells his family to live righteously in this epistle because the world is wicked, and there will be a final judgment where the righteous will be rewarded with eternal life and the evil with eternal darkness. There are other punishments Enoch talks about for sinners, and these punishments are similar to those in the Gospels and Revelation in the New Testament. Chapters 101 and 102 of the Book of Enoch emphasize the awe of creation and the importance of obeying God, the Creator. The book ends with a command not to alter Enoch's writings and a warning against false teachings. The Book of Enoch is very interesting, and there are many parts of it that many people do not agree with for different reasons. Now that you know all about the contents of the controversial and mysterious Book of Enoch, it is time to talk about why the book was banned and not included in the accepted version of the Bible. Why the Book of Enoch got banned. The Book of Enoch was initially accepted as part of the canon of the Church, but after more deliberation by the scholars and elders of the Church, it was rejected and banned from the Bible. Why? Well, there are several reasons this happened. The Book of Enoch came about after the last book of the Old Testament had been written, so if it were to be added to the Bible at all, it would have been added to the New Testament. There were some rules that the early church set in place to determine which book should be added to the New Testament and which should not. One such rule was that the person named as the author of the book must be the actual author. Now let's talk about the authorship of the Book of Enoch. It is believed by most scholars and historians that there is no way that the Book of Enoch was actually written by Enoch himself. They all agree that the Book of Enoch is most likely a compilation of writings from different authors who wrote the book in Enoch's name. The date of the writings further supports this thought. For example, the oldest section of the Book of Enoch is said to have been written in 300 BC, while the youngest section should have been written in 100 AD. If this is correct, then the book was written about 3,000 to 4,000 years after Enoch, the grandfather of Noah, lived. Therefore, it is impossible that Enoch wrote the book 4,000 years after going to heaven. Because of this reason, the book was seen as fake and thus rejected and banned from the Bible. Another rule that was given when it came to determining books of the New Testament was that the book must not contain teachings that contradict the rest of the Bible. Based on the content of the Book of Enoch, as we have discussed earlier, there are definitely some contradictions with some books of the Bible in the Old Testament, particularly in Genesis. For example, according to the Book of Enoch, sin came into the world through the rebellion of the Watchers, who decided to corrupt humans. This idea is directly opposite to what is in Genesis. According to Genesis, sin came through Adam and Eve, who ate the fruit they were asked not to eat. The Book of Enoch also blames the great flood that destroyed the whole world on the Nephilim, who were the offspring of the rebellious Watchers, and this is very different from what is in the Old Testament. There were also other controversial teachings present in the book that did not fit with the theme of the other books of the Bible. For example, the teachings on salvation in the book. If these teachings are to be believed, then salvation only comes to those who read the book and pay attention to the heavenly secrets in the book. This does not fit in with the rest of the Bible, especially the New Testament, which says that salvation is for everyone who believes in God and follows His commandments. The major reason that the Book of Enoch was banned from the Bible, however, is that it couldn't be confirmed as inspired by God. In choosing which books got to be a part of the Bible, the elders of the church worked with one primary requirement, which is that God should have inspired the book. All these other reasons we have listed, including the fake authorship and the way its contents contradict the rest of the Bible, made the elders decide that God did not inspire the book of Enoch, and so it didn't have any place in the Bible. Although some fathers of the church first argued that the book had to have been inspired mainly because Jude referred to it in his book, after learning more about it, they changed their minds. Scholars ended up saying that just because Jude cited a part of the book of Enoch that he believed to be a true prophecy, it doesn't mean the book is inspired by God. In fact, some others argued that the book of Jude should also be banned from the Bible because of the reference it made to the book of Enoch. While the Jewish community never really considered taking the book of Enoch as a part of their canon, that is, except for the Ethiopian Jewish community, there was a lot of push and pull in the Christian community about the validity of the book and whether it should be added to the Bible or not. Ultimately, it was rejected and banned from the Bible, and now only the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church uses it as part of their biblical canon. While the Book of Enoch is a sacred piece of literature, it does not align with the views of most of the Christian community, and at the end of the day, this is the reason it was banned. However, it being banned has not stopped people from taking an interest in it and reading the book. We hope you enjoyed learning about the controversial Book of Enoch. Is it a book you would like to read one day? Let us know in the comments section. Also, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more shocking and controversial content like this.